This is going to be a mindless stream of consciousness. To start with, I think that the Guild Wars 2 community needs to shut up about Guild Wars 3. So Guild Wars 3 is basically like the sword of Damocles hanging over the Arenanet studio headquarters because everybody expects that it exists. There are all these expectations on bigger, better, greater, whatever. And I think those expectations really hinder the process, right? It hinders the ability of the studio to actually make something good and meaningful and innovative because everybody has their own idea. It's the whole idea of audience capture in general, where Arenanet, instead of making something that they believe will be marketable and sustainable and good from a capitalist viewpoint, they end up trying to cater to the audience and the audience's expectations, which you really can't do. You cannot satisfy the number of people that the Guild Wars 2 audience has. There's so many different elements of an MMO and a game that there's not enough dev time in the world to satisfy them. And we see this, and this is an even more threatening scenario because we see the gaming landscape of today. Like, we are not releasing a game that can be kind of iterated on and fixed up as time goes on. Like, if you do a poor launch, it can very well tank your studio. Like, the idea of having a development roadmap where you make a product and you put it out there and then you iterate on it over the course of a year or however long, a season, you might not even make it to the season point. Like, you might have a good plan in place and you might be able to incorporate player feedback and so on and so forth, but you might not even make it that far. Your game's reputation might go to shit instantly. And just this year, we saw Ashes of Creation die. We saw New World die. We saw Highguard recently flop right out of the gate, which, maybe it was because of mismanaged expectations with the Game Awards. Maybe it was other things. But even last year, Assassin's Creed Shadows basically tanked Ubisoft. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 died instantly. Dragon Age: The Veilguard killed BioWare. And all of these games were established franchises. They had a lot of money behind them. They were a lot larger studios and publishers than Arenanet. Now, Arenanet does have NCSoft. There's still a lot of questions that I have about their relationship. But for the most part, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't necessarily matter how much money you have or the size of your studio. If you do not deliver properly at the right time, you can end up in the unemployment line as a game studio. And the last thing I want is Arenanet to feel the pressure of their community, which we have been seeing. We've been seeing, like, everybody's like, when's the next X-Pack announcement? What are they doing? Are they changing up the cadence? When's Guild Wars 3? Unannounced project this, unannounced project that. And while it's cool to want a new product from a studio that you like, you could essentially be killing the studio by forcing that, right? And I think that the reason why Arenanet is so radio silence on this topic is because they recognize that fact. Like, they know better than the customer. Now, there's a lot of cases where the studio doesn't know better than the customer, right? Like we saw with fashion templates. Fashion templates kind of scuffed right now. I think that it's going to get better. Personally, I think it's overblown, the amount of hatred people are putting out there on the fashion template front. I think that more hate needs to be focused towards the raid rework stuff, because that has gotten a bunch of praise when it's still very unfinished, in my opinion. Let's put some structure on this. Talking about Guild Wars 2 now. Guild Wars 2 just had its first quarterly update for Visions of Eternity. We are essentially halfway done with our 6-month drought period. So there is no new story stuff. There was a lot of feature-rich stuff. Now, I've advocated for a feature expansion where you clean up all the UI, you introduce new elements of kind of mechanics or systems in the game as opposed to new maps, new content. And I think that this is a good patch to showcase that. We got fashion templates, which I think are appropriately monetized, right? You have a account-wide system. As far as some of the little details on how to easily change your outfits and stuff like that, I'm sure there's going to be iteration on that to streamline things. I would hope there would be. We did see this with homesteads. I'm sure we're going to see it with fashion templates. We got the raid and strike merger, which everybody was excited about, and I was kind of excited about the raid rewards rework more so than the element stuff. The raid rework is not a group finder. Now, I still think that there are still glaring issues with the way Guild Wars 2 handles its group content. It still has significant problems. It is better than it was. I'm glad you could open up an individual instance of a boss and like prog a singular raid boss. I'm glad that they added in new titles and little things to work for. That's all good. I'm glad that they did do some rewards rework stuff, even though I will talk briefly about what I wish they did. But for the most part, the raid rework, even though it's better than it was, you're still reliant on the old LFG system to fill groups. You're still reliant on a commander like figuring out the whole squad layout. Like you're still stuck with the same problems. Like it looks a lot prettier, but it feels like lipstick on a pig still. Like the UI itself is nicer. You can choose bosses, you could do this, you could do that, but all of the underlying problems are still present. I still don't have a queuing system for quick play to where you can queue an individual role. We still don't have any squad, like you're still stuck to a commander's tag stuff, and that issue isn't really addressed where you can't just have like a squad leader and give them the power of the commander's tag. All of these things were not really addressed, and it's partly a community problem with the way the community engages with these systems and engages with other players, and it's partly an Arenanet problem giving the players those tools to solve this issue themselves. I think for the most part, these content drought periods and having these like feature packs are actually a good thing, because for the most part, most players that play Guild Wars 2 are not really concerned with like catching up with the next set of story. Like the people that are concerned about that are people like me who have full legendary gear. They've done the game for X number of years. Most players that play the game actively are not at that edge. They're not at that limit yet. They're working on their sky scale. They're working on their third or fourth legendary. They have their own goals in place. They're just playing with their friends, doing stuff, learning new builds, gearing out alts. So they don't necessarily need a new map or new carrots to go hunt down. There are people that do, like for me. I mean, I don't really have anything to do. I'm probably gonna do the same raids that I've been doing. You know, I might fight the crab boss or whatever. So we didn't get nothing this patch, right? And I don't necessarily think that the drought period is all that bad, but it is interesting because what is coming next, right? We do have the rest of Visions of Eternity to look forward to, but after that, it's been radio silence. And I would like to believe that this is kind of a marking of the new cadence. Maybe Arenanet finally decided, hey, this yearly seasonal expansion model, battle pass pseudo system is not really that great. I personally feel that it's not that great. A lot of people feel that it's not that great. And maybe like behind the scenes, they had this all mapped out and they're like, all right, we're going to switch it up after this. Maybe this is the final push towards Guild Wars 3 at the end of Visions of Eternity. Maybe we'll get another drought period, a year long, 6 month long, whatever. And then we'll start seeing advertising for the unannounced project, which the problem with the Guild Wars 3 meme is that no matter what they announce, if they say this is, you know, Guild Wars return to the whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter what they call it, everybody's just going to call it Guild Wars 3. It's the same problem that we see with the Concord. Any game that sucks or has some different design elements to it, everybody in the gaming sphere just calls it Concord. And that's what the community is doing with the unannounced project. It, like, no matter what it is, it's Guild Wars 3. And I feel like that is super bad. Like, that is very bad. Like, we are going to meme the studio into bankruptcy, like into the unemployment line. And then we're not going to have Guild Wars 2. We're not going to have Guild Wars 3. We're not going to have shit. And everybody's either going to have to play WoW or just stop gaming. It's really unfortunate that that's kind of the landscape that we're in. I feel like the memes and the bitching from the community is way overblown. Like, fashion templates are not that bad. I think that the raid UI rework is not really getting enough of the like fashion templates should get like half of the scrutiny, and then the raid merger should get the other half, because like the raid rewards are pretty good. The one thing that I wanted, and you could go back and look at my speculation on raid reward videos, like from 6 months ago or whatever, whenever it was posted up, I wanted a Corteria gift of exploration. I'm now sitting, now that we have this quarterly patch, I am sitting on like 8 legendary starter kits, which means the only way to get gifts of exploration is to do Corteria map completion. And I have to do that on 4 characters now. Now, I don't know why. There is no other acquisition method at this point. Like, it's Corteria. You're not really keeping people on the maps when they're doing map completion. You know, I'm blasting out a map in 40 minutes and then I'm not interacting with any other players. I'm using my mounts. I'm like trying to speed run it as fast as possible. This was a good opportunity to put that item somewhere else. Give it another acquisition method. Like, there's no lanterns, there's no bullshit. Like, you have to like literally make a new character, level it up, and then go do map completion. And then when you're done with it, like, you could just delete it. You know what I mean? It's very frustrating. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Like, I was hoping that like, hey, you know, 500 LI, 400 LI, just put it in the raid thing. So that way, at least I would be like, hey, I'm going to just raid. I'm going to have fun doing like in-game Guild Wars content, all like command squads and shit. And then I'm working towards like these legendaries at the same time without just like doing the mindless grind of just running around, doing the vistas. And like, it was like, you don't even watch the vistas. You cheese half the hearts. You're not engaging with the game in any meaningful way by forcing players into this exploration element. So I wish that was a thing. I wish that they do iterate on the raid and strike merger to add a queue system and to adjust the squad functionality, because all of those problems are still the same. Like, the LFG is still ass even with these changes. Now, is it better than it was? Sure. I think that fashion templates and raids did make things a little bit better, but are they as good as they could have been? The Wizard's Vault got adjusted. Everything was kind of like put in a deflation mode. They took out a lot of the expensive items. They took out a lot of the gold value items. And for the most part, I'm okay with that. I didn't really engage with it that much anyway, but it is interesting to see these kind of things being done, because I feel like I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but I think that we're coming to an end here. I think that we're coming to the announcement of the unannounced project. I think we're coming to a very risky time in the studio's history, and I'd really hate to be right. But I hope that it goes well. We'll see. I hope Arenanet knows what they're doing, because we'll see. And with that, I think this rant is over. If you watched, thanks for watching. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. I didn't want to read you patch notes. Shout out to all the subscribers. We just hit 9K. If you're new here, you're whatever, hit subscribe, hit like. Shout out to all the members who support the channel. Your support helps more than you know. And with that, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.